Welcome back, everybody, to Schema Therapy Hacks. One of the most common questions Chris and I get in the trainings, in the Schema Therapy trainings, in supervision, is about chair work. Can you do it online? All right, and that's a fair question. You know, when you're using physical furniture, in the technique, it makes sense that would be a bit of a barrier for people, right? To envisage how do you actually do this sort of dialogue on an online sort of format. So it's actually pretty easy. It's actually not that different from doing it live face to face. And so I want to teach you guys how to do this right now. It won't take very long at all. And I guess in that way, it's a good thing for a hack. So the first thing with any dialogue is that you're going to need a number of chairs, all right, within the space to do the dialogue. So the first thing I do is I set up one extra chair on this side, all right, so you can see I've got a chair here. And then I ask the client to have at least one extra chair on their side, okay? So it would kind of mirror what's happening here. There'll be the client and then they'll have a spare chair, okay? So now across the whole space, we actually have room for 4 parts. All right. If you really need more, you can always add more. But generally speaking, I find that having 4 parts for the mode dialogue is usually enough. Okay, and enough for most of the standard dialogues, things like chair work for the inner critic, chair work for protector modes, things like that. So, okay, that's the first thing. How do we get the chairs in the room? So what that means is that when you start the initial dialogue, I usually just ask the client just to be that side on the other side. I usually ask them to switch chairs to take the empty chair on their side and then be that side. Okay, and then initially it's usually sort of evoking whatever side you're working with. If it's the critic, you're going to ask them to speak to the empty chair and voice that critic concern. If it's a protector mode, you're going to start off by kind of interviewing that protector about why it's in the room right now. Why does it feel necessary to come into the therapy right now? Okay, and that's how you start off the dialogue. Now, here's the key point, all right? Because we all know in schema therapy, the golden rule, when you get to the point in which you're going to challenge or rebuke or impeach a part, all right, we always do it to the empty chair. Okay, so this is the part that now again, I want to caveat all of this with saying this is how I do it. All right, this is how I do it. There are a lot of creative folks out there, and they do chair work online in various ways. So I'm only sharing with you, how I do it. Now at this point, all right, what we're going to be doing is, right, once they've voiced that side, and once I'm in a position where I now want to rebuke that side in a way, to talk back to it. You do this. You stare down the barrel of the camera and you say, okay, what I want to do right now, if it's okay with you, I want to take that side. Okay, I want to take that critic side, I want to take that protector side, or whatever you're dealing with. I want to take that side now, if it's okay, and I'm going to put her now on the chair over here. Is that okay? All right, so she's over here now, the critic side, the one who's been beating you up, the one who's been saying that you're stupid and all those kind of things. Okay, now I'm going to say a few things to her. And so now you've created that kind of distance, that kind of diffusion for the client. You've got the sort of the maladaptive part over here, and you're going to start doing your thing. You're going to start challenging it, saying, it's not okay. If it's a critic mode, it's not okay to treat Jenny this way. I won't have that. All this kind of stuff. Okay. That's it. That's basically the trick. And then once you've got it over here, what you want to do is, in terms of, checking to see the dialogue, having the dialogue continue, is once you say a few things, you lean into the camera like this and you just say, what's she saying over there? And the client will say, oh, she's saying, oh, what are you going to do about it, or something like that. And you say, okay, I'm going to talk back to it. And then you continue your dialogue here. Now remember, the other thing you can do, which is kind of cool, depending on the camera setup, is remember the end game, especially for critic modes, not really for the protector modes, but for the critic modes, the end game is going to be the door. Okay, so keep in mind you may have to dramatically kick out the chair out of the room, if that's a part of your dialogue. Maybe you're working with a very punitive critic or something like this. all right, it might be necessary to put the chair outside, or in other cases, if you don't want to be so rebuking or so harsh, it might be simply turning the chair around and pushing it away a little bit, or putting it in the corner like that and creating that distance, and then turning the camera to you and saying, I want you to listen to my words now, okay? It's okay. It's okay to make a mistake. You're not a bad person, okay? And that kind of thing. So there you go, guys. There's a little schema therapy hack. People ask us all the time. I think that was around 5 minutes, all right? And I hope that reassures you that your skills for chairwork dialogues can easily transfer to an online space. Thanks for listening.